WrestleMania 2022 is upon us. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. This is my very first time doing WrestleMania, so hopefully the predictions videos will only get better from here. But please take a moment to like this video. It really helps the videos be found when you do. Leave a comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the Casualeann, That Wrestling Fan channel, and enable notifications so you know when new content comes out. So, why wait any longer? Let's hop into the predictions for WrestleMania 38. So on night one, there is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. So the beginning of this prediction may venture into spoiler territory, depending on how you see it. So feel free to click ahead a little if you don't want to know more definitively who's going to win the match. I'll put up a black box or wave my arms or something when it's time to come back. Are they gone yet? So what do I mean by possible spoiler territory? Raw is coming to Greensboro, North Carolina on May 2nd. This is the go-home Raw before WrestleMania Backlash. They've already been advertising matches during SmackDown down here, and one of them was for the Raw Women's Championship. Guess who is the champion? Becky Lynch. I'll get this one out of the way too. RK Bro are advertised to be going against the Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team Championships, with RK Bro being the defending champions. I don't know why they do this. Monday Night Raw is a big enough selling point all by itself. They've already been hyping up that this will be the first time that Raw's been in Greensboro for 4 years. You don't have to potentially spoil part of WrestleMania to get us in the seats. People will come. But that said, it doesn't have to necessarily be a spoiler. Becky could lose at WrestleMania and get it back before May 2nd, or even lose it at Backlash. And the same goes for RK Bro. Okay, you can come back now. In terms of storylines, this has easily been one of the most complex and riveting builds of the WrestleMania season. It's also been one of the longest running, with Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair's rivalry starting all the way back at SummerSlam 2021 with the infamous 26-second squash of then SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair. It was ugly, but I'm totally over it. Brock and Roman's rivalry also reignited them, but there'll be time enough to talk about them. When I think back to last year and how ridiculous the story for Sasha and Bianca was with Reggie, the Women's Tag Team Championships, I can see this one as a massive improvement. We have Bianca's identity, her hair being tied up in Big Time Bex's hands, and Becky being eager to prove that she hasn't lost a step since she vacated the Raw Women's Championship to go on maternity leave. Bianca and Becky both have worked to add complexity and rage to this feud, but I think WWE see Becky as the bigger star right now. And since Bianca was able to triumph last year and main event WrestleMania, they'll want to do something different to reestablish Lynch as kind of the pinnacle of the Raw division, possibly to even set up a championship rivalry with someone else. That's where this new look she's reported to have is going to play into things. While my heart says Bianca, my head and my prediction say that Becky Lynch will retain the Raw Women's Championship. Now we have Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul, the first of a lot of celebrity matches for the card. Despite me loving Rey and Dominic, I mean, they're the first father-son tag team champions. This may be the least exciting match on the card for me. And like many, they've done a lot to bring me out of it by having these singles matches to let me know what the match is already gonna look like. Even though celebrities usually win, there's so many wrestler, non-wrestler matches on WrestleMania this time, somebody's gotta lose. And better it be in a tag team than a singles match. The Mysterios did have their standing tall moment on Raw with Rey recovering his mask. Why did he have to put it back on right after getting it back? COVID. I tried researching reasons for this and didn't come up with anything. A little scary. But even with that moment of him getting his mask back, I still think the Mysterios are also going to win the WrestleMania match and put this rivalry with The Miz and Logan Paul to sleep with 619 lullabies. Next, there's Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent of Vince McMahon's choosing. So who is it? Is it Cody Rhodes? Is it Shane McMahon? The reports go back and forth as to whether Cody is going to face Rollins or not, and the question may be even more crucial than you think. This whole time, Seth Rollins has essentially been wrestling with his own torment. How on earth will he make it to WrestleMania? Turns out, all he had to do was ask Vince. But the chairman's pick, I believe, will determine the match's outcome. If it's Shane McMahon, it may be time for him to get punished for his reign of terror during the Royal Rumble. But if the American Nightmare is returning to the promotion that the Rhodes called home, WWE will want to capitalize on every ounce of that AEW capture. So Seth Rollins wins if Shane McMahon is his opponent. But Undertaker did say never. Maybe he's Rollins' opponent. If so, Rollins is losing. For the Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, there is a lot at stake. We have the upstart team with a lot of propulsion. Well, Boogs has the momentum and they let Shinsuke come along at this point. But anyway, they're really popular, they have a great gimmick, but the Usos are part of the bloodline. They have the distinction of protecting the bloodline, the Samoan dynasty that Roman is now at the head of. So who is it? Is it the longest reigning SmackDown Tag Team Champions? Or the upstarts? It's Nakamura and Boogs. They'll become champions tonight with some exciting strength spots, tons of entertainment. This will heighten Boogs' profile as a star, and it'll weaken Roman's unshakable kingdom, which gives them something new in their storyline, maybe even factoring into WrestleMania Sunday. So we've got this grudge match between Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin. A crazy feud involving two wrestlers that I do admire. I may be thinking about Lone Wolf Baron Corbin there. WWE has been searching for something for them to do. They aren't Roman, Ronda, Charlotte, or Brock, but Drew needs to stay powerful. Someone's gonna need a top-tier superstar to face soon. On the go-home SmackDown, they squashed one of the main stakes that this impending clash had: Corbin capturing Drew McIntyre's sword. Drew got it back right before their match. I'm perplexed, but nonetheless, I think that given some time, this match is going to be a lot better than people expect. Or Drew will just squash Corbin in about 2 minutes. Either way, the Scottish Warrior is coming out smelling like a flower of Scotland. So for King Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Ridge Holland and Sheamus, this has become about Ridge Holland breaking Big E's neck. Now I hope with all my might that King Woods and Kofi are able to come out of this victorious. I want Xavier to do big things as a single star, and losing doesn't need to be part of that. But Butch hasn't done anything yet. He's our X factor here. He's like Scrappy Doo, just spoiling for a fight, and Sheamus having to do everything in his power and practically hold him by the suspenders to keep him from going off on anything that moves. I think he interferes tonight, but it won't be enough to keep the New Day from securing the win and finally avenging Big E's injury. Where is Woods headed after this? Let me know in the comments. There's the matter of Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. A feud about physicality and talking about physicality. Who's gonna tap? Charlotte has, but who's gonna tap again or tap for the first time? They've done a great job with having Ronda be the bearer of legitimacy. It's Flair who has everything to prove. I think WWE is going to cash in on that legitimacy while Ronda is still around and her contempt for fans is kept at manageable levels. Charlotte Flair will always be there in their minds, and the sooner she ends one reign, the more quickly she can begin building towards another to eventually shatter her father's record. I'm not looking forward to more Rousey promos, just to be frank, but I think this victory is the beginning of a long title reign for Rousey. Look for the contest to be fraught with brutality and athleticism. The Stone Cold Steve Austin will confront Kevin Owens on a special WrestleMania edition of the KO show. This is slated to close night one. I hope Stone Cold's return is truly worth it. I really do. Not only for the fans, but for KO, who has put so much heart and work into this feud. He even thanks the editing department because, let's face it, they constructed the Kevin Owens Stone Cold rivalry on Kevin Owens' back, and they made it look great. Stone Cold did one video. He's never even stood face to face with Owens on this feud, and still with a little help from Chris Rock's Ba Wada Ba, they turned that one video and Kevin Owens' months of work into a surprise anticipation for their meeting. I expect KO to run his mouth, be interrupted with a few "whats," and for Stone Cold to feed him a stunner, or two, or three, to send the fans back home and to the hotels happy. Oh, and of course, there'll be the post-segment celebration with plenty of Broken Skull American lager. Alrighty, we're on to night two. First, I have listed Bobby Lashley versus Omos. I'm not gonna lie, when they said there could be a possibility that they'd face each other if Bobby was cleared, I hoped he wouldn't be. Not because I wanted him to still be hurt, mind you. I just hoped they would be extra cautious, and then Bobby wouldn't have to face Omos. I've been trying to keep things positive. I have, but this is some mess. Omos can't wrestle, not like Bobby Lashley anyway. Neither of them are great talkers, but at least Lashley has MVP. There is literally no point to this, unless it's for MVP to turn on Lashley and back the younger Omos that he maybe sees the future in. We're talking the almighty Bobby Lashley versus Omos in a match with one segment of build. While I want Lashley to win his first match back, he'll have to do the job for Omos and bring his own stock down to push someone who frankly isn't ready. So there's the tangle of generational talents, the exposed talons and tears and chairs, and the view from the top of the mountain of omnipotence versus the southern boy with the farmer strength. Edge versus AJ Styles. Other than the main event itself, this is easily the match I am looking most forward to. Edge has transformed himself to launch this animosity into the skies. The music, the outfits, the lighting, the demeanor, all signal a dimension of Edge that this contest, that AJ Styles has brought out in him. And AJ Styles has responded in kind, bringing back the bulldog that Edge has been wanting. I'm all in. Neither has anything to lose in this contest. They're two of the best to do what they do, and it's going to be beautiful to see them go to work. But in the end, to the victory goes the Styles. Or wait, to the Styles goes the victory? Yeah. Or if the plans of Edge having a heel faction shake out, maybe Styles loses and becomes one of Edge's minions. I still say Styles. So this one's nothing short of wild. We have Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn in an anything goes match. Now that stipulation says it all, doesn't it? While still protecting Zayn. A major talking point of JBL's on Talking Smack has been how unlikable Sami Zayn is. Sami Zayn constantly taunts Knoxville about how he can't do what wrestlers do. But through this stipulation, he has removed the need for Knoxville to do all that much. Johnny has an entire army of co-stars, while Zayn has, well, no one. So I think Knoxville's crew will get involved at every turn in this anything goes match to secure the win for him. It should be pretty fun. But what about RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy, our Raw Tag Team Championship triple threat match? I won't go back to what I mentioned in the Becky Bianca predictions, so I'll stick to the story here. The Street Profits have been set on a path to darkness, and I love it. They're more serious, more intense. The physicality has gone to new heights, pun intended. But I don't think it's in order for them to win the tag team championships. At least not at WrestleMania. Backlash maybe, but not yet. Alpha Academy have shushed and thank you'd themselves into oblivion, while RK Bro are more united than ever. At the earliest, maybe Randy turns on Riddle or Riddle turns on Randy for the Raw after WrestleMania, kind of in a Shield idea in which they have their big jubilant moment on the pay-per-view and then everything falls apart the next night. Either way, RK Bro retains. While Edge versus AJ Styles is the match I'm most looking forward to, this has been one of the most enjoyable builds of the season for me. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. While Theory has been somewhat protected, there are some chinks in his proverbial armor. Plus lately there's been this little side feud going on with the US champion Finn Balor. Despite the endlessly entertaining Pat McAfee, all the verbal takedowns, the run-ins, the ring around the ring, the round the ring, ring around the ring, round the ring chases, I think this match is actually just a pawn in the developing feud between Austin Theory and Finn Balor. Finn Balor's gonna get involved in the Theory McAfee match to make sure that Pat wins. The casual fans will get a recognizable name, and the hardcore folks will get to see Balor smash this kid to push their rivalry to new heights. So next we have the Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match. There's Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler. Out of all of these teams, we have one. who've had a run together before this, and it's Boss and Glow / Team Bad. They're still working out the kinks in their combined entrances, but they're united and explosive in their promos. I think Sasha's allure is kind of rubbing off on Naomi. Queen Zelina and Carmella have the appearance of being unified with some tension flowing underneath the surface. Rhea and Liv for brutality are quite natural as a team, in ring and out, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler I am just not sure about. I think their angle is angry. Got an angry angle. Is that like 90 degrees? Or 240? What's the angriest angle? Their angle is angry. Being ignored. I feel like this is their tag team character. Shayna Baszler's like, I'm one of the baddest women on this roster. This sucks. And Natalya's like, I'm one of the most decorated women on this roster. This sucks. Let's be a tag team. The Women's Tag Team Championship picture needs a shot of reboot with a legitimacy chaser. And I think Boss and Glow are the ones to give it to them. That's why they're gonna win the championships on Sunday. Boss and Glow. Boss and Glow. Kind of sounds like a cleanser. There had to have been something else they could have called them. Glow statement? Amazing bosses. Gloss statement? Dang, this is harder than I thought. Come back to me. Lastly, in our main event of night 2, WrestleMania Sunday, we have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns in a winner Universal Championship versus WWE Championship winner take all championship unification match. This by far is the easiest match to predict in the entire 2-night card. Reigns and Lesnar haven't actually been around each other that much in the final weeks, but Roman's promos have been epic. The go home raw about his career and avenging his losses being especially good. I can watch Lesnar destroy stuff all day, but the idea that he doesn't need a mouthpiece is garbage. Even if it's just for a little moral support when he does some talking, he needs somebody there. There's something about him doing promos alone that doesn't quite work for him. WWE knows it. So unless Heyman is about to mastermind some Paul Heyman super stable after Roman loses the title, it needs to stay where it is. Gone is the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar tug of war days. Gone is the suffering succotash Roman. And gone is the Reigns who needed his hand raised by his cousin. Let's be honest. And I know this is controversial, but he outworks Lesnar. And now is his time to be crowned on the grandest stage of them all. To have all the top belts until they're split up again. Roman Reigns will be the undisputed, unified, universal of your time and all-time WWE heavyweight champion of the world and the galaxy. What are your WrestleMania predictions? Is there one night you're looking forward to more than the other? What would you like to see me talk about in the future? Backstabbing Glow? Feel the boss? Glow time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Gloss time? Glossy time? Amazing glow boss? Glossy bow? Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tap that bell icon to make sure you get notifications for when new videos come out. Thank you all so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you soon.